Welcome in, welcome in. Alrighty, we're gonna be doing TSI math for the TSI math test. So basically, if you know anybody that's trying to join college and pass the entrance exam, this will help them with the math part. Okay, so please share the live, double tap your screen for me, and let's get started. Okay, so we're on simplifying the following expressions. Thank you for the double taps, you guys. Thank you, thank you. I see them coming in. So A says 3 times 5 minus 7 to the fourth power. So remember, in order of operations, you have to do what's inside the parentheses first. So 5 minus 7 would give us a -2. Then we have to the fourth power. Does anybody know what -2 to the fourth power is? I see somebody put 48 as the answer for the first one. Okay. What is -2 to the fourth power? Can we put it in the chat? Sixteen. Good. All right, because we have negative. So remember, this is -2 times -2 times -2 times -2. And like you guys said, perfect. So we're going to do 3 times 16. And 3 times 16 is 48. So beautiful. That's our first answer for A. Now be careful, because a negative times a negative is a positive. A positive times a negative is a negative, but then a negative times a negative goes back to positive. So it'll be a positive 48. Will this be on your YouTube? Yes, scrapbook. Thank you for asking. Yes, I will be posting this on my, for sure it'll be up there tomorrow, the latest. Oh, no worries, one. All right, so let's do B. So we have -6 plus, and then these special things mean something. Okay, they're called absolute value. So we have -6 plus. We're going to do what's inside the absolute value first. So 3 minus 5 gets us -2. Keep those absolute value because that's important. Does anybody know what absolute value is? Like, what do we do? Love your channel. Please keep up the good work. Oh, thank you, Scrapbook. Thank you, thank you. Reciprocal? No, not quite. Thank you, Diana, for the rose. Thank you for the share. The distance from 0. Yes, yes. So it has to be positive. Exactly. So this is going to come out. If it's a negative, it's going to come out as a positive. So this would equal -6 plus 2 over 2. And then we would get -6 plus 2, which would give us -4 over 2. -4 divided by 2 is a -2. And that is our beautiful answer. Thank you, Diana, for the heart me. Thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you for the double taps. Can everybody double tap their screen for me? Can we get to 5K likes? Can you double tap the screen? Share the live with whoever you think this needs. Oh, you never seen that before? Yeah, this absolute value. A lot of people forget it because they don't do it a lot in school. And so it's like, what does that mean? A lot of people think it's just parentheses, but it means the distance from 0 positive. So it has to come out as a positive. So great. I'm glad you've seen it for the first time then. Or it's just a reminder, you probably forgot it. Let's go to C. All right, C. Okay. What's the difference between inverse and reciprocal? Reciprocal. So that's a great question. Reciprocal would be like let's say this is like we got our answer -2. If I wanted the reciprocal of this, it would be 1 over 2, -1/2. Okay, because you would have to flip it. Inverses are talking about when you're talking about an equation. So like if I had 3 plus x equals 5. I have to move this 3 to the other side by doing the inverse, which is the opposite of addition, so I would subtract 3. So x would be 2. So this is an inverse. This is a reciprocal. Very different meanings. Thank you, Anastasia, for the heart me. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Yes, great question. And keep the questions coming, you guys. So for C, we have 6 to the squared, which means 6 times 6. So we have 45 minus 36 divided by, remember this is 3 times 3, which is 9, plus, does anybody know what the square root of 1 is? What is the square root of 1? Can you guys put it in the chat? Thank you for the double taps. I see we are at 2.9K likes. Thank you, thank you. Keep those double taps coming in. Let's get to 5K. 1, 1, 1, 1. Good, you guys. Yes, 1. Remember, you're looking for a number times itself. So 1 times 1, since it's a pair, we can take it out as 1, 1. Perfect. Our square root. Okay. Now we have division. So we have to work this first. So we're going to drop down our 45 minus 36 divided by 9 is 4 minus plus 1. And then put your answers in the chat. What do we get? What do you guys get for this one? 40. Okay, so we got a 40, 40, 40, 42. Ethan, I haven't forgot. Please forgive me. I am going to do it. I promise this week. I promise to get it done, Ethan. I'm glad you're back, though. Hey. You probably like, man, I'm done with that. Oh, but what are you guys doing with logs and LNs? Are you guys like expanding them, condensing them? Are you what are you actually doing with the logs? Are you doing what else was I looking at last night when I was trying to look for something for you? Like, what part are you doing with logs? 42, 42. Good. Now, let me tell you guys. If you did this first, you cannot, because our order of operations say we have to work from left to right when we have addition and subtraction. A lot of people forget this. So you actually have to do 45 minus 4. You have to do this first, which would have gave you 41. And then if you added that one, you would have gotten 42. So for those who got 40, I hope you understand you must work from left to right when you have addition and subtraction. So it has to be 42. Well, I finished the semester and I'm moving on to basic calculus. Ooh, love it with analytic geometry and my math. Okay, congrats. Email me some of the problems that you're going to be doing in basic calculus, okay? Because I always want to brush up on my skills. Teacher told me I need to know how to do logs, so I still really don't understand them. Okay, perfect. So I'm not too late. I could just start a whole little log thing. Good. Can you show us the answer, please, one more time? Yes, I can. So we started off with exponents. We did 6 times 6. And we got 36 because this little 2 tells us we have to multiply this base 2 times. Then we did our exponent here, which said 3 times 3, and that's how we got 9. We took the square root of 1 and said it was 1, okay? Because 1 times 1, it's a pair, it comes out as 1. Then we dropped down our 45. We had to do the division because division comes before subtraction and addition. So that's how we did 36 divided by 9 and got 4. And here, most people, it's easier for them to say, oh, well, I know 4 plus 1 is 5. And then I could just minus. But that's wrong. Whenever you have addition and subtraction on the same plane, you have to work from left to right. So we had to do 45 minus 4. And we got 41. And then we dropped down our plus 1. And 41 plus 1 gives us 42. And that's how we get our answer. My semester starts tomorrow, actually. Love it. Good. Well, best of luck. I remember when I first took calculus, it was like, what in the world is limits? I was like, what is this? So I hope it's better for you than it was for me, okay? I hope it just clicks. I hope you have the best professor that you can understand. That's what you really need. Oh, you're so welcome, Dove. Yes, Ethan. Okay. So let's do this. Let's take the square root of 1/4 plus the square root of 9/4. So if we break this, we just did the square root of 1. We said was 1, right? What's the square root of 4? Does anybody know the square root of 4? Do you know your perfect square roots? Do you know your perfect squares? That's really what it boils down to. 4. 2. Good. And then the square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 4 again is 2. So 1/2 plus 3/2 gives us 4/2. And 4/2, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So our answer is 2. You got 2. Good. Yes. So if you're doing the ASVAB, please know your perfect squares up to 25. So that means I should know 25 times 25, 625, right? 24 times 24, 500 and something, right? Like all the way. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. You have to have those memorized. It will just make your life way easier in math. Okay. All right, so now we're getting into solving some linear equations, okay? So where do we start? Where do we begin? Whenever you have a number attached to a parenthesis, we're going to distribute. What does that mean? All that's telling me is I'm multiplying. So 2 times x, just put it together, 2x. 2 times 3 is plus 6 equals x plus 5. All right, put it in the chat. What do we have to do next? Oh, the TI-84 is perfect. That's what I used to use all the time is the TI-84. Another calculator that's really, what is it? It's with the TI-84, but it's like their, oh, I gotta look it up. I forgot the name of it. But it basically does like calculations for you. But I don't know if you should get that calculator because then if you can't use it in the class, you'd be wasting your money. But just get your syllabus and then see if they exclude any calculators. And if they don't, when I go live, then I'll tell you which one to get because it really does it. Move the X over. Perfect. Group X's. Move the X's. Good. How do I move the X over? That's the question. Let me see the operation. Yep. How do I move the X over? Thank you, Dove, for liking the chat. Thank you for liking the live. We got to move the X minus. Good, Vanilla. Yes, I want to subtract X. Perfect. So 2x minus 1x gives me just an X. I'm going to drop down my 6 and drop my 5. All right. Now what am I going to do? If I want X by itself, what do we do? Subtract 6. Perfect. We do the opposite here. So we're going to minus 6 to both sides. And we're going to get X equals 5 minus 6 is a -1. And that is our beautiful answer. Perfect. Alrighty. So this equation looks crazy, right? It's like, oh no. Fractions. A lot of people don't like fractions, but we're not gonna let them take the fear out of us, right? So we're gonna think of a number that 2, 3, and 4 can go into. What can 2, 3, and 4 go into? Texas girl said, I don't like any of it. 12? Okay, good. 12. So if you don't like fractions, what I suggest you do is you're going to multiply this whole thing by 12. Okay? So what do I mean by that? I'm going to cancel. I'm going to do it step by step, okay? So I would get 12x over 2. 12 times 2, is going to give us 24 over 3. And I have to do, if I do this to one side, I must do it to the other side. So 12 times 3 is going to give us 36 over 4. Okay. I want to show you step by step for those who will struggle. So 12 divided by 2 is 6x plus 24 divided by 3 is 8. And 36 divided by 4 is 9. Now, we could have done the same thing and not have written this step by by just putting 12 here, right? So 12 divided by 2 gets me 6x. So I could have just went here and put a 6 here. 12 divided by 3, I could have canceled this out and put a 4 here. And 4 times 2 would have got me 8. Same thing here. 12 divided by 4 would have got me 3. 3 times 3 gets me 9. So you don't have to do it this way. There's multiple ways to do it. But whatever you do, do it the way that makes sense to you. Okay? That makes sense to your brain. All right? So this becomes a two-step. We have to move this positive 8 by doing the opposite. Can you cross? We can't cross multiply because of this plus. If this wasn't here, then yes, we could cross multiply. But you would have to have a variable here, okay? So we're going to minus 8, and we get 6x equals 9 minus 8 gives us what? 1? Okay. Whenever you have a variable attached, they're multiplied. So we would divide by 6, and x equals 1/6. Good. Yes. 1/6. That is our answer. Come in. I'm on live. Okay, here. Yep. Do you prefer to leave answers as decimals or fractions? Well, the higher you go in math, the more it's like just leave it like this, because when you have a time test, you don't have time to be like, okay, what's the decimal when this is a perfectly good answer. So it's not like I like fractions over decimals. It's just like I'm not going to waste time changing this into a decimal if my directions don't say it. I'm going to just mark it and leave it on. I hope that makes sense, if that makes sense. So just multiply the numerator and leave the denominator. Multiply. Yes, if you're talking about up here when we multiplied everything by 12, yes, we would just be multiplying the numerators, leave the denominators as is, and then divide. Great question. Hey, Nicole. Okay, now this is called literal equations. So it's really, we want to isolate the W, okay? We want to get W by itself. So that's what we're solving for. So we need to move everything else to the other side, okay? So what I'm going to move first is this 2L. How do I move this 2L to the other side? Can you guys put it in the chat? How do we move it to the other side? Yes, Angel, I do. 2L, negative 2L. Perfect. Good. Because this is a positive, we're going to minus 2L to both sides. So this cancels, and we have P. Now, these are not like terms, so we just write it horizontally. P minus 2L, okay, equals 2W. We're almost there. I want to get W by itself. So what do I have to do? Can you guys put it in the chat? What do we have to do to get W by itself? You're so welcome. Divide by 2. Wonderful. Yes. Remember, these are multiplied together. So the only thing that undoes multiplication is division, not subtraction. Subtraction does not undo multiplication. So that's why we have to divide and not subtract. So this would cancel and we would get W equals P minus 2L over 2. And as long as we have W by itself, we have solved for W. That is our answer. Okay. So I hope that really clears up why we're not subtracting, but we have to divide because these are multiplied. Okay. All right, let's keep it pushing, y'all. Okay. So we have some more crazy equations, right? It's getting out of hand here. It's like, what? But so whenever we have a 3 and a 5, we must ask ourselves, we don't like fractions, so let's get rid of them. So what does 3 and 5 both go into? Good. I'm glad you got it, Dove. Put it in the chat. What does 3 and 5 go into? 15. 15. Good. Yes. So I can multiply this side by 15 and this side by 15. Okay. Now I'm going to put 15 here. Okay. Put 15 everywhere. And I'm going to cross simplify here. So cross cancel, I should say. 15 divided by 3 gives me 5. So what I have left is 5 times m minus 4. Okay. If I go here, 15 divided by 5 is going to give me a 3. So really I have a negative 3 times the rest of this, 3m minus 1 equal to, then 15 times 1 is just 15. Any questions on this part before we move on? So you can switch what you divide, but it can only be the bottom or top. So because I don't want any fractions, I want to get rid of them. How I get rid of them is by looking at the numbers in the bottom, which is the denominator, and saying, what can these two numbers go into? Well, they can go into 15. So then I multiply because I'm undoing that division in order for them to cancel. I hope that makes sense what I'm saying. Why the denominator? Because I'm trying to get rid of the numbers in the denominator. See, the top is not the problem. It's the numbers in the denominator that's causing me a problem, because when you subtract fractions, you have to have the same number. I don't have the same number. So that's why I just want to clear them out. I want to get rid of them. Good. See, I'm glad you get it now. So break it down to simplest form. It's not, it's actually getting rid of them. Not even simplest form. It's like removing them. Like I see right here, we have no more fractions in the bottom. Okay. Great questions, you guys. All right. So now we have a number attached to parentheses. What are we going to do? We're going to distribute. Distribute here, distribute. That's all we saying is we multiplying. Okay. So I'm going to do this one. Can you guys put this one in the chat for me? What do you guys get when you guys distribute here? So 5 times m is 5m. And 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Good. Elba said negative 9m minus 1. Negative 9 minus 1. Negative 9m minus 3. Good. Yes. Oh, negative 9m plus 3. Yes. Okay. So negative 3 times m times 3m gets us a negative 9m. Okay. A negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 1 gets us 3. And a lot of people forget to distribute this 3 here. So that's what causes the whole problem to get off. So I hope you see it now, why this has to be a positive 3. Because we're doing a negative times a negative. Okay. Okay. So now we have like terms. So we have 5m and this negative 9m that we can combine. And we also have negative 20 plus 3. So our oranges are going to give us 5 minus 9 gets us negative 4m. And then negative 20 plus 3 gets us negative 17 equals 15. What do we do next? Good, Lulu. Good job, Lulu. Yes, negative 4m. Add 17. Good, yes. So we're going to add 17 to both sides. And I'm going to go up here. So we have negative 4m equals, what does this give us? 7 plus 5 is 12, 20, 32. Did you guys get something else? You know any websites where I can practice a test? Oh yeah, if you just Google TSI math practice test, they have tons of online free practice tests that you could take. 32. Good. Okay, so you got 32 too. Okay, and then what is our last step here? Is it addition or is it division? What are we doing here? Ooh, are we dividing by a positive 4 or do we have to divide by? Good. Angel said divide. Good. So we're going to divide, but we have to divide by what's with the m. And a negative 4 is with the m. So we have m equals a positive divided by a negative is a negative. 32 divided by 4 is 8. So m equals negative 8. Oh, you're welcome, D21. Yep. All right, we go into the next topic. So we just solved some equations. We started with order of operations. Now we're going to move to solve the following quadratic equations, okay? And if you're solving quadratics, you have to know how to factor, okay? So there's multiple ways that we can factor. This is a trinomial, so you always look for a GCF. Greatest common factor. Well, it doesn't have one. So then once I notice that, I go straight to 2 parentheses. I have a plus and minus, so I know my signs are going to be plus and minus. Okay. Then I'm asking myself, what times what gets me m squared? Well, m times m gets me m squared. And I'm going to put that right here. M and m. Then I ask myself, what times what gets me 6? Well, there's a lot of things that get me 6. 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Okay, now I need my pair to add up to 5. Remember, I have a positive and a negative. So which pair is going to get me a 5 that can add up to a 5, but has to be positive and negative? So Ethan said m plus 6 and m minus 1. Wonderful. Here, 6 minus 1 gets me that positive 5. See, this also gets us 5, but only if we can add them, or if they both have to be subtract. So this will never get me 5 if one of them has to be positive and one of them has to be negative. So that's why 2 and 3 does not work. Okay. So the negative has to go, the 1 has to go with the negative. So I put 1 here and then I put 6 here. Right? It's like, whoo, all that hard work, but we're still not done. Because if you see this equal 0 here, Don't forget, you got to do this last step. M plus 6 equals 0 and M minus 1 equals 0. So what are our answers? I'm doing the opposite, so I'm going to minus 6 to both sides here. M equals negative 6. And then I'm going to add 1 here. And M equals 1. So our answers are negative 6 and 1. Yes, good, you guys. Fantastic. All right, so unfortunately, B is not equal to 0, right? So whenever you solve for quadratics, we have to have everything to one side. Lulu said, I finally got this. Good, good, wonderful. So we want this, all this stuff to be something like this, okay? So we're going to multiply this out first. So there's multiple ways, right? I'm going to do the box method because that's just what I like, okay? No rhyme or reason. So I'm going to put my X and my 5 here, and then my X and my negative 1 here. And like the old school multiplication chart, X times X gets us X squared. And then X times negative 1 gets us negative X. And then X times 5 gets us 5X. Negative 1 times 5 gets us negative 5. And we have to take our inner 4 boxes, you guys. Got to take these out and write them out. So we have X squared minus 1X plus 5X minus 5 equals to 2. All right, where do we go next? I've never seen that box trick. I like it. Good, yes. Combine like terms. I love it. Yes, combine like terms. So we have these like terms in the middle here. So we're going to drop down our X squared. Negative 1 plus 5 gives us a positive 4X minus 5 equals 2. We're almost there, you guys. Remember, I need this side to be 0, right? So I have to move this. I have to do the inverse. So I'm going to minus 2 to both sides. And then we get X squared plus 4X minus 7 equals to 0. Now that we have this equal to 0, we can go back to our beautiful factoring. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to put 2 parentheses. I have a plus and a minus, so I'm going to put a plus and a minus in the middle, okay? I'm asking myself, what times what gets me X squared? Well, X times X gets me X squared. Oh, can I factor this, you guys? Because the 7's a prime, right? So only 1 times 7 will get us. There's no way to get that 4. Ugh, this is ugly. So you know what we have to do. Does anybody know what we have to do in the chat? What do we have to do? We can't do it that way. This is something you learn in Algebra 1 towards the end of the school year. So if you're in Algebra 1 and you haven't made it there yet, can you do completing the square since B is even? Ooh. I think, ooh, that's a great question. You know, we probably can, but yes, Ethan said the quadratic formula. Yes, I was going to say, we want to do the quadratic formula because we know that factors any and everything, right? So, quadratic formula, negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we got to know what our a is, what our b is, and what our c is, right? Our a is always next to the x squared. So my a is going to be 1 because there's always a 1 by every variable. My b is always next to the x, which is just 4. And my c is going to be the constant, which just means a number that doesn't have a letter attached to it, which is -7. Whew, they putting us to work. How y'all holding up? How we holding up? Double tap the screen. Let's get to, oh, we made it to 7.0K. Let's get to 10K likes. Double tap your screen for me. Are we still in here? Good. I see those double taps coming in. Thank you. Thank you. She said no. I know, right? So I'm going to do color coding because it just helps. So I know if I see a purple, I'm literally putting 4 in there for that. If I see an orange, wherever I see an orange, for here and here, that's what I'm putting for 1. And then for my pink, if I have a pink here, that's where I'm putting -7 in, okay? So, whew. Okay, so let's plug and chug, right? Yes, I know, Dove. This is, so if you haven't had Algebra 1 and you haven't seen this formula, the quadratic formula, this ain't gonna make sense, okay? But hopefully, if you are in Algebra 1, then you'll know what I'm talking about when your teacher gets there towards the end of the school year. Because you learned this the last thing in Algebra 1, okay? Me too. So, negative. I'm plugging in my b, which is 4. Plus or minus square root. I see another b. I'm putting it 4 squared. Minus 4 times my a, which is 1. Times my c, which is -7. Okay. All over 2 times my a, which is 1. Okay. All right. So where do we begin? We're going to simplify in here. So 4 times 4 gets us 16 minus 4 times a -4 times a -7 gets us a +28. Okay. So now we have 16 plus 28. We're going to take out our calculator because why not? 16 plus 28 is going to give us 44. So we have -4 plus or minus the square root of 44 all over 2. Really? If you have a nice teacher, you can stop here and that will be your answer. But if you have a teacher like me, they're going to be like, simplify that, player. So this can simplify down to, let's practice square roots, right? That are not perfect. So this is a skill in Algebra 1. You get introduced to it. In Algebra 2, you for sure know it, okay? So the square root of 44. We're saying 4 times 11. Okay, well, 4 times 4 gets us 2 times 2. So underneath the square root, remember you're looking for pairs to come out. So this can be taken out as 2 square root. Since this doesn't have a pair, it has to stay like that. 2 square root 11. So this can go in place of square root 4. So we can write -4 plus or minus 2 square root 11, and we can divide that by 2. Ooh, we're going off the paper. Woo, you guys. We can still simplify. I'm going to just show this one last step because if you have multiple choice, you have to know what this is equal to when it's all the way simplified. Okay. So, hi, Fi. Ty. Oh, Ty, hi. How are you doing, hun? How's your math class going? So we're going to do -4 divided by 2 gives us -2 plus or minus. And 2 divided by 2 cancels, so we're left with square root 11. And this, baby, that right there is our answer. I'm in honors geometry now. Wonderful. How did those proofs? Are you guys doing proofs yet? Did you get to proofs? How they been treating you? Yes, happy Martin Luther King Day. Josh said that was fun. Oh, good. They're pretty easy. I love it. I love it. Good. I'm glad you see them catching the patterns, right? It's all about the patterns with proofs. Okay. Good, good, good. All right. Woo. So, right, if this is a time test, am I going to save this? Am I going to waste all my time doing this one? No, I'm going to flag it, go to the next, make sure there's not no more easier ones, then come back and tackle this one. Okay. All right. Ooh, and they get uglier and uglier. Ooh. We do get to radicals. So this part of the TSI, you guys, would be like if you're trying to place into calculus, right? If we're not trying to take any remedial classes. So this for sure will be like past algebra 2. You're trying to place into calculus or test out of math, depending on your major, okay? So my Regent 6 points questions was a 10-step proof. That was awful. Yes. Oh, Ethan, are you from New York? Because I only know about Regents in New York or Jersey, East Coast. I need to pay attention because I forgot all about this since last year. Oh, yeah. Isn't geometry so different from algebra? I tell you guys. I mean, they have a little bit in common, but not like this crazy stuff. I am. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Regents. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Where's everybody from tonight? Put it in the chat. Where are you guys hanging from? I'm in the Midwest, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Ohio. Love it. New York. Okay. We heavy in New York tonight. Baltimore, Virginia, San Antonio, Texas. What up, Texas? Philadelphia. My sister-in-law just moved out to Texas. I can't wait to go visit. I've never been to Texas before, so I'm looking forward to that. Oh, -2 Cali. Okay, I love it. Washington, New York. Good. All right, so let's see about C, right? We have 1/8, we have nothing here, and 5/2. All right, so if we want to get rid of our fractions, let's get rid of them. Let's throw them out. What do we have to multiply by if we want to get rid of our fractions? Yes, Angel said it's cold right now down here. Yeah, we're having like -1 degrees. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow if they're going to cancel school because it's like these negative degrees come on now. 8, 8, 8. Wonderful, you guys. Yeah, so we're going to multiply everything by 8. 8 here. We're going to times 8 here and 8 here. Okay. 8 divided by 8 cancels, and we're left with x squared plus 8 times x gets us 8x. And then here cancels. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 5 times 4 gets us 20. Okay. Now remember, in order for us to solve, we have to have everything to one side. So we're going to minus 20 to both sides. And we get x squared plus 8x minus 20 equals to 0. Okay, if we got to do the quadratic formula, we stopping, okay? Because that quadratic formula took me out. Okay, so I have a plus and a minus. We got a plus and a minus here. All right. We won't have to do quadratic. Then we're going to ask ourselves, what times what gets us x squared? X and an x. All right, we got our 20 over here. We need to list all the factors. We got 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Which pair? 10 and 2. Good. Yes. So we got 10 and 2. We know we're going there. Now, which one has to be negative? And I think you said the 2 has to be negative. Perfect. 10 minus 2 is going to give us that positive 8 that we need it to be. So I'm going to put my 2 with the negative and my positive 10 here. Great job. Yes. Good. And now we're almost done. Don't forget this last step. You got to do x plus 10 equals 0 and x minus 2 equals 0. Do it again, please. See? Yes. So here we multiplied by 8, everything, right? So we did 8 divided by 8. That gave us just 1. So we wrote x squared plus 8 times x gives us 8x. And then we did 8 divided by 2, which got us a 4 here. And then we said 4 times 5 got us 20. Okay, so we're here now. We have to move this 20 over. And the only way we can move it over, because it's a plus, we had to minus. These are not like terms. So we just wrote it horizontally. X squared plus 8x minus 20. Then we wrote our 2 parentheses. I have a plus and a minus. I'm going to do plus and minus. Then I ask myself, what times what gets me x squared? Well, x times x does. Then you ask yourself, what times what gets you 20? Well, 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5. Now I have to look at the pair to get me a positive 8. 1 and 20 will never get me 8. 4 and 5 won't get me 8 because that gets me 9. So 2 and 10 gets me 8. But I have to have the negative. I have to do 10 minus 2 to get me a positive 8. So I put my 2 with the minus and I put my 10 with the positive. And then we solve. I hope that helps. Oh, thank you, Ty. Thank you. So we're going to minus 10 to both sides. Okay, because it's a plus. So that cancels. So we have x equals negative 10. And then we're going to do the opposite of minus 2. And we're going to add 2 to both sides. So we get x equals 2. And those are our answers. Okay. And you know, I think D is one that's going to be a quadratic formula again. Okay, do you guys want to see this one with the quadratic formula, or should we just get to the radicals? How we feeling? Y'all up to another quadratic formula, or do you guys want to get to the radicals? What do you guys want to do? Oh, thank you, Dove. Radicals, yes. Another? You want to do another one? You want to do another one with the quadratic? Please? Okay. Oh, it looks like we 50-50. Oh, radicals. Oh, the radicals are coming in. Okay. We'll come back to this one, okay? Because I don't want to get burnt out. We'll come back to this one. I'll do this one as my last one, okay? So, but let's do the radicals. Okay? And then that will be my last one for tonight. Okay, so solve the following radical equations. So we have the square root of 2x minus 3 equals 9. Go to the potty, okay, baby? Markaden, go to the potty, okay? That's my 3-year-old. We don't have no pamper. Okay, when she gets off, you jump on the potty, okay? He has his big boy underwear on, so we're trying to have no accidents, right? So the square root, okay, we want to cancel out this square root. The only thing can cancel out a square root is if we square both sides. Okay, I'll get you one after I get off, okay? But go potty first. So this is going to cancel, And we have 2x minus 3 equals, and then 9 times 9 is 81. All right. Did I lose anybody there? So remember, in order to cancel out this radical sign, which is a square root, we have to do the opposite, which by squaring both sides. Add 3. Good. Perfect. Add 3 to both sides. Yes, yes, yes. And we get 2x equals 84. Then we're going to do the opposite of multiply. So we're going to divide by 2. And what's half of 84? Can I see it in the chat? Oh, thank you, CSS. 42. Good, Ty. Yes, 42. 42. Pop said 42. Wonderful. Good. 42. Great, you guys. All right, so we had a square root. Now we have a cube root. Okay, so what's going to be our first step with B? What do we do first? Does anybody know what we have to do first? Parenthesis by 2. Subtract. Good. Yes, subtract. So we're going to subtract by 5 to both sides. No. So we're going to subtract by 5, and we get cube root x plus 1 equals 3 minus 5. Okay, I told you, wait till I get off the live, okay? You guys, this is motherhood. 3 minus 5 is a -2. All right, so how do we get rid of a cube root? Does anybody know? How are we going to get rid of that cube root? How do we get rid of the cube root? Does anybody know? Cube both sides. Good, BK. Yes. So we're going to cube and cube. Okay. These cancel each other out. So you're left with what's underneath. So we're just going to drop down our x plus 1 equals. Remember, this is -2 times -2 times -2. So we get 4 times -2, which is a -8. Then we're going to get this +1 to the other side by doing -1 minus 1. And we get x equals -9. And that is our beautiful answer. All right, so you guys, you can see I have to go. I thought I was going to be able to do more, but you know, when the crying starts to happening, it's time to go. So thank you so much, you guys, for hanging with me tonight. And thank you for my regulars like Ethan, Ty, and everybody else that has come in and I've seen your name multiple days in a row. I appreciate you guys. And thank you for hanging with all my new people. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. I don't know. I probably like around the same time tomorrow or later at 7. All right. Bye, you guys.